Okay, so that's us live again for another Thursday night Rocky Brand live stream. We will see if anyone joins live this evening. Today we're going to be talking about my tools and resources that I use. Hey Fuad, thanks for jumping on. You're always the first these days. It's good to see you, nice, keen and eager. I really appreciate you being straight off the ball. It gives me somebody to chat to. I'm not kind of hanging around on my own. Just sort of saying, tonight what we're going to talk about is the tools and resources that I use just in my day-to-day work. There'll be lots of tools probably that other people who watch this are using, but there may be some that they're not using. But it's just, the live stream I want to use to just give a little bit of an insight, a little bit behind the scenes as to, what I use, and people can compare the tools that they use as well. Hopefully people can either suggest live on the stream if they want to tell me about the tools and stuff that they use, because there may be things that I've never heard of before. I don't know everything. And there are tools that I stick to. Sometimes it's a bit awkward to move to something new, especially if you've been using it for many, many years and you're just like, I don't have the time to retrain in another piece of software, but I would like to hear people's input. Hey Dan, good to see you on the stream, mate. Thanks for joining. You're waiting on the video from the last live stream. It is on the channel, Fuad. Let's just have a little check. I definitely put the live stream up. Let's see. My channel. So you want to go to playlists and go to live streams. Oops. But yeah, I've never really. But view full playlist. That's what I want to do. So what was last week's one? How to get the best customers? I think was last week's one. So it is there in the live streams. I think maybe what it is I didn't put it into my latest videos playlist. So that could be why that isn't there. But if you go to my page and then you go to the videos section, it will show you the videos, in the latest order. So hopefully that makes sense. Oh, you waited for this one. Okay, so I'm just being a bit dim then. Sorry. I appreciate you waiting for this one. Just wasted a couple of minutes there, getting all confused. Okay, cool. Well, we got that sorted. So. So I'm just going to get started and kind of talk about the tools that I use. There's some that everybody uses, and then there's things that I just couldn't be without that really helped me get through the day to day. So the first one, and what I'll do is I've got web pages for each thing so that we can kind of look at these as we go through them. So if you've got any questions about anything as I'm going through this, then just ask. First thing, which probably does not surprise many people, is the Adobe Creative Suite. I just couldn't be without it. It's something I've used the Adobe software for many, many years. I've been using Photoshop since Photoshop version 1 or 2. I can't remember, but essentially, sort of 1991, 1992 is when I did my graphic design qualification before I went to university. And so I've been using it for a long time, and it's really funny thinking about Photoshop back then, because you really only had like one undo. So if you made a mistake and you recognized it straight away, you could undo once and fix it. But if you made a mistake and then you did something else, you couldn't undo enough to get back to that, and you would have to do it again. So today having, as many, you can set how many undos you want in your history. It just makes such a difference. Hi, Na, is it Na or is it Na Arul? Is that your full name or is it just Na is your first name? Thanks for joining. And then I've got Adobe Illustrator, which I use as well. And the thing is, I use a huge amount of the Adobe suite. So I use Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, Premiere, After Effects. I used to use Adobe Muse for building websites, but I think they've actually phased that out now. And I do jump into some of the other ones. I've tried XD for kind of prototyping and things like that, but I'm not too knowledgeable on that. But I definitely get my money's worth from the subscription. And I know that a lot of people weren't happy about the Adobe software moving over to a monthly subscription based system. It used to be that you could just buy whichever ones you wanted. You can still do that. You can subscribe to just one app, but really you actually get more for your money if you subscribe to the whole suite, because you get access to everything. But really, if you only use Photoshop or you only use Illustrator, then it would be cheaper to just subscribe to that one. But I use everything, so I'm completely embedded in the ecosystem of the Adobe software. And most of the suppliers and things that I use want, AI files and things like that. So that's, that's good for me. I have used other software in the past. I've used things like CorelDRAW. I've worked in businesses where I've had to learn CorelDRAW because that's what they used. But now that I work for myself, I can choose the software that I want. One thing that I want to mention, even though I don't use it, is the Affinity software suite of Affinity Photo, Affinity Designer, and Affinity Publisher. So Affinity Photo is their version of Photoshop, Designer is their version of Illustrator, and Publisher is their version of InDesign. Now, I've bought this software because it's so cheap. Even at full price, it would be something like £140 full price. You pay that once and that's it. It's yours to keep. Whereas with Creative Suite, if you want the full Creative Suite and you're not a student, it's something like, including VAT in the UK, something like £50 per month. So that's about £600 every year. They do deals, sort of on Black Friday and things. You can get some good deals, so you can always make savings there. I kind of used that every year I go on. They do say that the savings are only for new subscribers, but I find that if you go on the live chat and you say to them, look, I've been a subscriber for a long time, many years, and I've been looking at Affinity Designer and I'm thinking about moving over to that, they will give you a good deal because they don't want you to leave. And if it came to it, I don't know if I could move to the Affinity Suite. I have had a look at it and there's some cool stuff in there. There's actually some stuff in Affinity Designer that I wish was in Adobe Illustrator. They've kind of thought about things because it's fairly new. They've been able to kind of build that from the ground up, and they've learned some lessons from Illustrator. And with Adobe, I just get the feeling that they keep updating the software and it keeps breaking things, and it can get really frustrating. So they're lucky that I'm tied in on that. But there are pros and cons to it. But I'll be sticking to the Creative Suite. Like I say, there's tons of software in it. You've also got Acrobat Pro, so you can edit PDF files easily. And then they've got something which is handy for me as a designer. I can now create layouts and things in InDesign or in Acrobat, and I can send it to the client for review, and they can leave comments on it and send comments back, all within Adobe. Whereas what I would do before, I'd probably send it as an email, or I would send a Dropbox link and they would email me back with feedback. But now it can all be done within the Adobe software, which is really handy and really handy for me to use. So if the Adobe Creative Suite is just a little bit too expensive for you on a monthly subscription, I would recommend that you check out the Affinity software, especially right now, because right now they've got 50% off all 3 of their desktop apps on the Mac and on PC. So it's only £23.99. If you need that translated into dollars, it's probably about $30. So you could get all 3 for $90 in total. You can see here they've just released a major update. Now, I'm not sure what happens when they move. So that's update 1.9. Now, if they move to version 2.0 of each of the apps, I'm not sure if you get that upgrade, or if it may be like some companies where if it's sort of 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, that's a revision update. But if it moves to a full kind of software update to version 2, you may have to kind of buy it again. But even so, it is still going to be cheaper than paying for Creative Suite on a monthly basis. They do have, they've got some workbooks, but they're a bit outdated now. And they do have bundles of fonts and graphics and things that you can buy. I can't see it here, but I actually have Affinity Designer for my iPad Pro. I got that because they had that really cheap as well. I think that was £10 to buy. I think it's Affinity Pro, Affinity Designer, or it might be Affinity Designer and Photo that I have on my iPad Pro, just for sketching and messing around with. But this is a good option if you want to, get a high-end level. Don't be put off by the price. It's not terrible software. It's really, really good. And one of the things is as well is the Affinity software can open up Photoshop files, InDesign files, and Illustrator files. So if you are already using the Adobe Suite and you want to move over, you will be able to open up your Photoshop files. The only thing that you can't use, which is one of the reasons as well, which I haven't moved over, is that you can download lots of Photoshop templates, mock-up templates, which use smart filters. So you can, just drop logos and things onto layers and it will automatically make it look like it's part of a t-shirt or something like that. You can't open those types of files in Affinity. You probably can open them, but you would lose all the functionality. So that's one of the things which Affinity doesn't have right now. I'm sure it will probably come in the next few years, but right now it doesn't have that. So just be aware of that if you are going to make the move from Adobe to Affinity. But really, right now, if you are going to make the jump, or even if you just want to get the software, because as I say, once you've got it, it's yours forever. There's no monthly fees. I just bought it because it was so cheap, so I would recommend that you do that. So that's the main software that I use, is the Adobe Creative Suite for pretty much every day. Every day I am working in that software. Now, one of the things when you're a designer is you use a lot of resources. You use typography, you use photography, patterns, mock-ups, all that kind of stuff. And there are lots and lots of sites that do that. You've got photography sites, you've got typography sites, you've got I obviously do video, so I need some video footage, stock footage, audio, all of that. And there's lots of different sites that do these types of things. But the site that I use most is Envato Elements. Now, there is Envato have their own site, so let's bring up Envato. So if I just bring up the Envato site. So Envato is an assets website, so you can see here, hopefully you can see this on the screen, they've got graphic templates, stock videos, stock photos, music tracks, etc. So what you can do is you can have a look around at the graphic templates, and when you find one that you like, so let's just click on this one, you can actually, oh, it's jumped into Envato Elements, so that's not what I wanted. But I think with Envato, I think it's maybe Envato Market, which is, yeah, Envato Market, which is a buy-as-you-go thing. So you pay for each thing. So let's say you find a flyer template or a poster template you like that will be a good kind of starting point for you. It'll probably cost you something like $6, and you can pay, you know, $6, get the poster template that you need, and crack on. And then you know use that, and then your client pays you for the final work. But you've obviously had a cost involved, which is the poster template. But with Envato Elements has all of the content of Envato Market, but you pay one monthly fee, and you get access to all of this. You get stock video templates, music files, sound effects, graphic templates, graphics, presentation templates like PowerPoint and Keynote, photographs, fonts, add-ons, we can have a look at that, website templates, CMS templates, WordPress templates, and also 3D objects. And the 3D objects one's quite cool because you can actually turn stuff. We'll have a quick look at that. I am going to be doing a standalone video with a full review of Envato Elements, so I don't want to spend too much time on this today because we'll be here all night, and I just want to give you an overview of the things that I use, and you can go and check them out yourself. I'll probably say this a few times through the video. There are links in the description to all of the things that I'll talk about today, and some of them do have deal links, so you'll be able to get like cheaper subscriptions or maybe a month's free trial. So check that out in the description of this live stream. And if you're watching the recording, it will be in the description of this live stream recording. So like I say, there's lots of things. So let's say I'm looking for a t-shirt mock-up. So I can just search for t-shirt and it will kind of auto-fill to see what I'm looking for. So if I click on t-shirt mock-up, you can see here we've got graphic templates for t-shirt mock-ups. We've got photographs, and we've got actual graphics. So, you know, kind of vectors of t-shirts and things. We've got video of people wearing t-shirts, and we've got 3D models of t-shirts. And we've got some fonts showing up because maybe the word t-shirt is in there. WordPress, video templates, so you can use this sort of in Adobe After Effects, for example, put your own designs on, and you've got a video showing your t-shirts. So there, for example, that's probably open up in After Effects, drop your logo, your design on, and it will auto animate, and then you just export the video. You know, these are really, really useful, especially when it comes to if you're creating designs for your clients. And especially when it comes to logo designs. I kind of mentioned this in my logo live stream, where it's all well and good creating a really nice logo that's good for the client, but you don't want to just present it on a white page. It just doesn't, there's no life to it really. You do have to do that because you want to show the client, you know, the logo on its own, but what brings it to life is showing the client their logo and their design on things. So you can create, you know, mock-ups, mugs and water bottles, posters. You will get all of those types of templates in here. But as we can see here, what you could do as well is you could wow them a little bit more by having an animated mock-up of their logo on a t-shirt or on anything else. It's just showing t-shirts because that's what I've searched for. But if you search for other things, it will bring up video versions of that. And that's where also having an Adobe Creative Suite subscription would come in, because you will have access to Adobe Premiere and Adobe After Effects, which is where most of these templates come in. But let's I'll click on this one here. No, what I'll do actually is I'll click on Video Templates, and you'll see here down this side, it tells you what the templates, what software and things templates are for. So down here, we've got applications supported. So the templates that are for t-shirts, there's only 5 of them here. They're all Adobe After Effects templates. But if we did sort of a wider search, there will be templates for Premiere, Apple Motion, Final Cut Pro, and DaVinci Resolve. Now, this is brand new. DaVinci Resolve is free video editing software, and it's very, very good. So the fact that they have now introduced templates for DaVinci Resolve is going to be a good thing for many, many people. So that's great to see. And that's one thing that I will say. They add hundreds, if not thousands, of new items every single week to this site. I've been a subscriber to Envato Elements since it was in beta phase. I was one of the first people to subscribe to it. And there was so much. When I subscribed, it was graphics templates, graphics, presentation templates, and I think that was it. And now they've added stock video templates, photos, fonts, web. So much stuff is getting added all the time. And the monthly subscription that I pay for this is, I think, $16.50. So I pay $16.50 a month, which is something like £12 a month. And I can download as many things as I want, as many times as I want. When you download something, what you do is you just give it the name of a project, and it links that file to that project. Now, if I stopped my subscription, my license is still okay for the project that I'm using it with. But what I can't do is I can't use that. Let's say it was the t-shirt video. I can't use that for another client because that would be using the license. I've said that license is tied to that other client. So what you have to do is, as part of your subscription, if you want to use the same thing again, all you do is you just download it again and tie it to that license. You don't need to keep the file. You can just delete the file. I'm not actually sure if you can just go in and add another license to that downloaded file. That's something which I'll check out for the review video. But one of the great things as well is, let's take off this search term, the number of fonts that they have. I mean, if you look here, they've got over 10,000 script and handwritten fonts. They've got 4,000 sans serif, 2,000 serif, 5,500 decorative. So many fonts. Now, one thing which I wish they had, which some of the specific font sites have, is that you can preview. So let's say you're doing it for a logo, so you need the client's name. On some sites, you can type the client's name and it will show the font, show the client's name in all the fonts. Envato doesn't have that yet. I'm hoping that's something that they will bring in, because that would just make this even better to use. But like I say, I'm going to do a specific video on this, and I will go into things in detail. But I just want to show you very quickly the 3D one. So I'll just click on 3D, just do a search. So we'll just use these glasses. So the cool thing about the 3D one is that you can actually, it's not just that one angle. If you go to view 3D render, what you can do is you can drag all of anything which is in the 3D category, you can drag them around and get the ideal angle that you want. And then what you do is you just click download this angle. So if you want a couple of angles, you just move it around, download that angle, move it again, download that angle. And you can download it as a PNG file with a transparent background, or you can actually download it as a Photoshop file, so it'll be layered. You'll have the layered file. But that's really, really cool. I love this, that capability to kind of, do that. And doesn't take long to render it, I mean, I've got a pretty powerful PC, but even on a laptop, it does not take long to render it. And you get a full, it's not just spinning it that way. It's like full. You get every single angle that you would want, and you can move it. It's very small increments. So if you needed a specific one, one thing that I found useful is that they do have, they've got numbers and letters. So I've used these quite a bit actually for previous videos where I've had to do countdowns and things, and I've downloaded numbers and downloaded them at different angles, so that maybe 1 comes in at one angle and then 2 comes in at a different one, so you get jaunty angle. So that's a really, really cool thing for Envato Elements to have. So, like I say, when I'm, working on projects, I need to find, sometimes just need to find a bit of inspiration, or maybe maybe the client's budget isn't the biggest. And so you need to kind of, you haven't got the time to sort of create something from scratch. So what you can do is you can go into the graphics templates and you could kind of type in, let's say it was a brochure. You can type in brochure and find something which is maybe along the lines of what you want, what you're looking to do, and then download a template and edit that template, to make it fit your client a bit more. One thing that I will, I would be upfront with your client, if the client comes to you, for example, and says, hey, I'm looking for a brochure, here's my budget. And then after speaking to them, you find out it's like a 24-page brochure, and then just like the budget just isn't going to cover it, not to create something from scratch. So what you can do is you say, well, I can do that for your budget, but what I'll do is I'll probably start with a template. If you're okay with me starting with a template, we can, use your photographs, your brand colors, etc., but it will be based off of a template, because that will save me time, which brings down the cost, because time is money. So just be upfront with your client, because what you don't want is, you don't want to kind of pretend that it is, you're designing it from scratch, and then further down the line, the client maybe is looking for something themselves and they see a template which is exactly like the brochure that you've done. So if you're going to do that, if you're going to take on a project where the budget's quite low, and to make the budget you need to use a template, be upfront with the client and just say, well, I can do it for you, but it will be based off of a template. If you're happy with that, then let's go ahead. So Envato is good for starting points, or even just inspiration. We all go to, there's sites like Dribbble and Behance, and where people go for inspiration for design. I'm a bit stuck, I don't know what to do. I sometimes just jump onto Envato just to look at what's there, to see if there's anything that jumps out, a particular style that can help me with designing. So that's always a good one. Ferd's asking if I know about moving mockups. So yeah, you can do. We can kind of touch on that in a minute. That's my next thing. Moving mockups, which again are like another step up for your client to see something, and they're like, "Oh, that's amazing!" How, you always get, "How have you done that?" And that's kind of where you can bring in some almost magic to the client. Really exceed their expectations. They may be, when you say to them, "Hey, I'll create some mockups," they're probably expecting stuff like this. But if you move into moving mockups, then that's going to make all the difference. So there are a few sites, though there are sites starting up all the time for mockups and mockup generation. But I generally use Envato Elements when I want to download more comprehensive or complex mockups. So Photoshop templates where I can go in and really adjust things to the way I want. But if I'm looking for really quick mockups to just upload a logo, place it on something, and it's done, then this next site is one which I recommend. It's actually by Envato as well, but unfortunately it's not part of Envato Elements. I wish it was, but I don't think they'll merge the two. So this is Placeit, and with Placeit, it's really straightforward. You don't need to have any design software because everything is done on their website. Again, they've got thousands of templates for whatever you need, really. They've also got, an online design maker, a bit like Canva. They've got a logo maker, which obviously I'm not going to touch with a barge pole because, yeah, just no. They've got a video maker as well. And they've got a gaming thing. I've not really looked into the Twitch stuff for that. For me, it's mostly about the mockups and the mockup generator. So, again, let's just look at t-shirts. So what you can do is you can see here, if I don't if I don't move my mouse over it, it shows upload your image, but then it shows you, you know, what you can change on the t-shirt. So from this one, it shows that you can change the color of the t-shirt and you can add an image to it. So you just kind of roll your mouse over and it'll show you how much, you know, of the t-shirt you can change. So I'll show you how easy it is to change a t-shirt. So if I just click on this one and let this load in. So it's a really straightforward interface. Sometimes you've got, if it's more than one item of clothing or something, you might have a few more options here and a few more options on the left. But to change the t-shirt color, all you do is just click on that and you just choose a color. Okay, and it changes the t-shirt color. Really, really straightforward. So let's just put that on a light grey just now, okay? If you've got a very specific color, if you've got like a brand color, which is like an RGB code or hexadecimal, you can click on more and you can actually type in a specific hexadecimal code to be really on brand if that's really important. You can add text yourself just by adding text, but mostly you'll probably be uploading a graphic. So I've got a graphic here. Just drag and drop it. It'll ask you to crop the thing, and this can be a bit of trial and error. So just sort of, you know, play around with that. You know, you can move this and kind of make it smaller or larger. Generally, I'll leave it where it is first. Click on crop, and then it applies it to the t-shirt. And you can see that it's not just a flat, it doesn't just put a flat image on it. It actually works with the what's known as a bump map. So it kind of works with the bump map of the t-shirt and it bends the design so that it looks like it's actually on the t-shirt. So you can see there that fills the whole part of the t-shirt. But if I resize it, so if I make it smaller, so I can make it this size and hit crop, it makes it much smaller. If I wanted it just sort of be up here, sort of a, you know, like a pocket logo, I can make it, you know, even smaller, sort of a bit of guesswork here, you know, and so just move things around so that you can actually have your design, but then you can still move things around and maybe even come up with, you know, it might look really cool if it's sort of around the side, or, you know, you only see a part of it. It is, you know, it's really easy to use. Obviously, you know, if I then had a black shirt, it's going to remove some of the stuff. So what you could do is you could have various versions of your logo, your design or your logo. So if I bring up one with a white version of the PI, that's then going to show up on the black one. That's all there is to it. You can do that same with water bottles, mugs. You just load it up and it will automatically size that to the way you want it. Now Fuad had I just want to say hi to Mini-Me and Shivansh. Thanks for joining the stream. Fuad mentioned moving mockups, and you do get Placeit does have moving mockups. So if I do, again, just sticking with t-shirt, if I do a search for t-shirt, it might take a while because they do have, it's 21,000 results for t-shirt. That's a lot of results. But if you scroll down, they've got sort of like, you can hone in on specifics if you want like someone with a coffee mug, you know, in the design. But you can go for boy, girl, man, woman, adult, baby. You can go for ethnicity. There's ethnicity there. You can go for tags, so whether it's hoodies and stuff. I'm not sure where I was sure there was one which was like sort of motion. But I don't really use it that much, so let's see, t-shirt videos. That's probably the easiest one to do. So what you can do is go to, you know, choose one, and then I can bring my graphic in again, click crop, and it shows you the video there. You can add audio if you want, so you could go into Envato Elements, download an audio track, put that on there. So that was just previewing a still image for me. What you need to do is you click on update, and then it will process. Again, sometimes it can, depending on how long the video is, they're generally not that long. I'm not sure if this is kind of based on my PC, how long this takes, or whether it's done server side. I'd imagine it's server side. But, you know, this is, you know, really cool, and it just adds a little bit of motion. Some of them move a lot more than that. This one's quite subtle, but you know, you can see how this brings it to life. And Siobhan's, just to answer your question about are all the models free and how much do they cost? Placeit has a subscription, so you pay to subscribe to get access to all of their templates. But and I think I just paid for the year, so I think it's $90 for the year, which is about £70. I'm not sure how much it is. Let me just check. There's probably a link right at the bottom. Maybe because I'm logged in, it doesn't have pricing. Let me log out. Let me log out and see if pricing appears. Oh, here we go. So $15 a month or $90 a year. So you save 50% by paying for the year in one go. But they do have a free account as well. So you see here, you can create a free account. And with the free account, I think, so they've got 5,709 free templates. And to be honest, you're probably going to find enough for what you want. And, you know, they do have video ones included. So this is a free, so this one here is a free video one. And if I, you know, upload my do epic shit thing, it'll load the preview. This one's actually got an audio track as well. I'm not going to play that just in case YouTube strikes me for audio. Obviously, I didn't change the color. You could change the t-shirt color as well. We'll let that process that slide because there's a little bit more movement in this one than there is in the other one. But yeah, I'm pretty sure as well actually that Envato Elements, I think, has a free subscription level as well, and I think you can download up to 12 items a month. So you can download 12 mock-ups or 12 whatever. I'm not sure if it limits it like Placeit. So Placeit has, you know, nearly 6,000 free things. I'm not sure if it's a limited amount with Envato Elements, or if it's you can download 12 things from any of the sections. So 12 downloads a month might be enough for you, so you can check that out as well. Like I say, there's links in the description of this live stream to all of these sites. So here's the video, it's rendered. So, you know, for like literally a minute, you now have a 10-second promo video. Imagine you're presenting stuff to your client, and that's their, you know, they've got their new logo, and you're like, yeah, this is how it would look on a t-shirt. Rather than it just being a still image, you can present a video to them with some music. They're going to be blown away, because most people, as designers, we kind of get used to this stuff. But most business people don't look at this kind of stuff. I know that Canva's not one of the tools that I'll mention today, by the way. I don't use it. But I know that Canva is, you know, creating a lot of really cool stuff. They're looking at, you know, you can now remove backgrounds from photos. And I'd imagine they'll start to introduce a lot of these things as well. So they're all under one roof. But even with Canva, you know, you can upload images and stuff, but there is always going to be a need for designers. So I know people panic about things like Canva and stuff. You know, why do we need designers if we've got Canva? I've seen a lot of the stuff that has come out of Canva, and it's not very good. You know, just having the tool doesn't mean that the end result is going to be very good. You still need someone that has design knowledge and skill to, you know, to create the final output. So, you know, don't be put off by it, you know. And the thing is as well, if a business owner wants to use Canva and do the design work themselves, they're probably not going to be the right client for you anyway, because they obviously they don't value the design to spend the money on it. They want to do it themselves to save money. They may learn over time that actually, you know, this isn't the best, I'm going to hire someone. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. There's plenty of clients out there who do value design and who will pay you for that work. So that's two sites that I use for mock-ups to help present my work in the best way possible. Another place to go for stock, if you just want to download, you know, one thing at a time, is Design Cuts. And Design Cuts, again, you know, a bit like Envato Market, you can download illustrations, icons, backgrounds, textures. They've got templates for, you know, business cards. It's pretty much the same as Envato Elements. But one thing which I do like about Design Cuts is the bundles that they do. They do some amazing bundles. I think it's once a month. They do design bundles. The ones that I'm usually most interested in are the typography bundles, where they have really good font packages, because some fonts, commercial fonts, can cost quite a lot of money. But Design Cuts do great bundles where you get like $3,000 worth of fonts for like $29. It's an absolute no-brainer. I mean, there might be some in there that I'm like, I don't like these, but I'd happily pay, if it was a bundle of 10 fonts and I only wanted one and it was $29, I'll happily pay it. If I don't use the other 9, that's fine. I'd happily pay it for that one. It's a really, really good deal. But they also do things like this. So this one's the Designer's Unique Creative Collection, was $1,700, now $29. There are packs which I like, and there are some which really don't really suit my style of design, so I wouldn't really use anything. So this one's, you know, got lots of textures and more illustrative type work, which isn't the type of work that I do. So this isn't a package that I would buy, but it may be, you know, really useful to you, you know, if you're watching this and this is sort of your style. But like I say, they change up the bundles every month or so. And so it's a good idea to just keep Design Cuts bookmarked. I do try to post on social when they've got a new bundle, to let people know that there's a new one there. They do have, as you can see here, they've got a freebies section. So you can go to the freebies section and, you know, download some graphics. They've got some add-ons. So the add-ons will be like effects for Photoshop and Illustrator. So if you just, you know, you can type something out and then apply an effect and it'll make the text look more interesting. Some free fonts, free templates. They've got some free Procreate brushes for iPad, and some scrapbooking stuff. So, you know, you can go on and just download the free stuff to them, sign up for their newsletter, and you'll get notified of things there. And you can see here that they've got a specific section for Affinity. So they've got, you know, 10 pages of stuff for the Affinity software. So, you know, if you're thinking about jumping from Adobe to Affinity, or even just starting with Affinity, Design Cuts have got you sorted with some cool stuff that you can use for brushes and textures and templates for that. So check out Design Cuts. It's another one that I use. That's sort of more. So that started off with tools, then resources. We're back onto tools again. I do have a video on this software on my channel, Logo Package Express, and this has been an absolute godsend to me as a logo designer. Part of the logo design process at the end, once you've had the sign off and the logo's been approved, is you need to supply your client with the logo in different formats. different file formats, and also different sizes, because the client's going to need JPEGs in different sizes. You don't want them uploading a massive JPEG to Facebook for a profile image, or a massive logo up on their website. So when someone's on their mobile phone and they go to their website, it takes 10 minutes just to download the logo. And I've seen things like that happen because the client probably isn't aware, they're just uploading their logo. They're not thinking about the file size and download times and things like that. So I always like to supply my client with as many sort of main sizes. So maybe, a print resolution JPEG, a decent size, and then a smaller one. And then for screen use, I'll maybe provide it 800 pixels, 400 pixels, and 200 pixels. So if you imagine that, and then let's say there's 4 variations of their logo. They've got an inline version, a stacked version, one with a tagline, without a tagline, just the symbol on its own, just the type on its own. You have to do that, different sizes, different resolutions, different file formats for every single one of those. And it can take some amount of time. In some instances, half a day, if there's a lot to do. That's where this comes in. I can now do all of that, and I just recently finished a project, and the logo you had the logo with the symbol, the logo with a tagline, and the symbol on its own, inline and stacked. Not only in English, but an Arabic version of the logo as well. So I had to do those versions, but in Arabic. So not only did I have to do all of the versions in the English version, I had to double up and do all of that. Using Logo Package Express, I created 300 logo files, and it took me 15 minutes to do 300 files. I can't even imagine how long that would have taken me to do manually, because I would have to create, artboards in Photoshop and Illustrator and export them all manually, make sure they're all okay. You've also got things like color formats. So Logo Package Express allows, exports Pantone color versions, as well as CMYK versions, as well as RGB versions. It's, so Shivansh's saying 300, that's a lot. And it is a lot. And potentially that could be quite confusing for a client. So what I'll do is I will create the logo package. Now, the cool thing is Logo Package Express also creates a file structure, a folder structure. So it's easy to see where they are. So it'll say, digital versions, and it'll say, let me see if I can open up. Let me just see if I can open up an example of it, just to show you guys how that actually. I'm just checking that it's a logo I'm allowed to show you, because I don't want to show a logo on screen that the client hasn't approved yet, or hasn't been made public. Let's see. Who can I do? Yeah, I think I can do this one. It doesn't really matter. I'm not really kind of showing the logo anyway, but let me just, I'm going to have to change to my desktop. So let's go to desktop. So I'm hoping you guys can see this. It's obviously quite small, but what I'll do is I'll see if I can change the view to large. So you can see here that we've got icon, monogram, primary logo, and secondary logo. So for this client, they had the logo, but they also had a monogram version created as well. But if I just go into the primary logo folder, you can see that we have the primary logo, and then the primary logo with the tagline. If you go into this one, we have a black version, we've got full color, we've got inverted, and we've got white. If you go into the black version, we've got a digital version, and in there you've got SVG, JPEG, and PNG versions. And in print, we've got CMYK. In this version, it's just black, so there's no Pantone. But if we go to the color version, again, we've got a digital and print folder for it. If you go into print, you can see now we've got CMYK. So we've got AI, EPS, and PDF. And then in Pantone, we've got AI, EPS, and PDF. And it does that for every version of it. Again, with tagline, we've got all that as well. And then obviously we've got the monogram, and we've got that as well. If I had to do all of that independently, that would be crazy, and it would take me a long, long time. So yeah, Shivansh, it's all automatic. If you go to, let's bring up my channel. Let's see, how long ago did I do my review? There it is there. So there's Logo Package Express. So if you just do a search on my channel, if you just, go to videos or do a search for Logo Package Express, and welcome along to my video review for, it's 27 minutes long, but it will show you exactly what you need to do. First couple of times you use it, it might take a little bit longer because you're getting used to all the settings. But once you get the settings in place, you're probably going to use those settings each time, maybe with a couple of tweaks. Literally will take you 5 minutes. Honestly, it'll take you 5 minutes. Watch that video, and what I'll do is I'll actually I'll leave this open, and I'll put the link to the video in the description of this live stream. But it's an amazing piece of software. It's $120, which, depending on how much you're charging for stuff, that can be, a big investment. I get that. I do have a link for $20 off that. But if you think about how much time you're spending each time you want to export logos, if you can get like half a day, even a couple of hours, down to 5 to 10 minutes, and it's all in folders and all organized, it's going to be useful to your client. That's worth a lot, and you will save the money. Depending on how much you charge, you'll save that money either just from one logo job or a couple of logo jobs, and then after that, it's just making you money because you're quicker at turning around that pretty laborious end task. So definitely check it out. I know that Michael, who created the software, is always working on this. He's actually working on a portal as well, so that once you've exported the files, you can actually upload them to a portal, a client portal, where your client, rather than, as I do now, I create the logo package and I send it to the client. I think the way the portal's going to work, it's not out yet, so don't, I think the way it's going to work is that you can upload all of the logo files to the portal, and then the client gets an address from you, a web address, and they have their own, online portal. So they don't have to keep the files on their computer or whatever, and they'll be able to access the files wherever they are. So even if they go traveling and then maybe somebody says, oh, can you give me a copy of your logo? They can just go online and download whichever version they need. So I'm looking forward to that coming out. I'm pretty sure that's in development. And there's new stuff happening all the time because he listens to feedback from the people who use it, and he's always improving it. So it's definitely, this is one of the best tools that I've bought in years, because especially if you're a logo designer, it just makes such a difference. It's an amazing tool. It only works with Adobe Illustrator though. That's the caveat. So if you're going to go into use Affinity, then it's not going to work. You have to use Adobe Illustrator. I don't know if he has any plans for it working with Affinity. I don't think he does at the moment. So it's only Adobe Illustrator, but it does work on Apple Mac and it works in Windows. So there is that. So yeah, sorry to anyone that's using the Affinity software. It's not for that. Next thing is my Pantone color books. Now, hopefully, if you're a subscriber to the channel, you will have watched the latest video, which is this one here, which is the Pantone Bridge Guides. where I go in and talk about these. This is them here. So let me just go to the chat window. So these are my Pantone bridge guides. I'm not going to go into too much, but basically when I want to make sure that I have accurate color, I use these because you can look at color on screen, but that's probably not going to be the exact color you're going to get in print. The only way for me to know what the printed color is going to look like is to have printed books. So these books are Pantone bridge books, and the Pantone bridge books have Pantone spot colors and CMYK colors, and CMYK is the color format you're going to, or the color format you're going to print 99% of the time is going to be CMYK. But you will use Pantone spot colors every now and again for some promotional merchandise like pens, one color jobs. They'll probably ask for a Pantone spot color. So I've got two books which come as a set. This is on glossy paper and this is on uncoated, because papers can have an effect on color as well. So it's good to see what the differences are, because sometimes you might specify a CMYK color from here, and then when you look at what that CMYK is like on uncoated paper, you might go, well, actually I need a darker CMYK for when it's uncoated. So for the client, you say, okay, if you're going to get stuff printed on coated paper, we're going to use this CMYK. If it's uncoated, we're going to use a different CMYK. But when you look at them, they look fairly similar. So it gets a little bit, color can get a little bit tricky and a little bit complicated. But yeah, these are worth their weight in gold. But these are fairly expensive. I looked at the pricing on the video and it was £368 in the UK and 300 and what was it? I've got a still screen here. Where is it? No, that's Logo Package Express. Here we go. Back to web view. £348 including VAT in the UK and $368 in the US. That's fairly expensive, but again, a bit like getting things wrong. If you get the color wrong in a print job, how much is it going to cost you to reprint that job? So depending on the size and things, then it'll be worth it to have those books. You do get color swatches in Illustrator. I'm not sure actually if I would imagine Affinity has Pantone swatches as well. But again, looking at Pantone swatches on your screen, you're relying on your screen. Is that calibrated? Is it color calibrated? I mean, I have a screen calibrator, so I calibrate my monitors, but that's another tool that you would need to buy. Something actually, since we're talking about tools, it is something that it is worth looking into. It's connected to my PC, so I can't really bring it, but I have this thing here, which is called an i1 Display Pro, and what it does is this just sits and it monitors the lighting in my room, and it can adjust my monitor so that I'm looking at color based on the lighting. And then what you do is you can flip that off, and there's a lens here, and that sits on your monitor, and the monitor shows this colors, and it looks to see if the colors are balanced correctly, and it adjusts your monitor's profile to show you more accurate color. I can't remember how much this was. I think this was about £120. But again, color calibration is useful to have. Cheap monitors, so much, really cheap monitors aren't going to display color very accurately. And if you're going to go cheap on a monitor, then you really, really should have these. But even the best monitors, high quality designer monitors that are got good color accuracy can still drift. They drift over time, so colors change, which is why you need the profiler, the calibrator, to bring that back in. So like I say, color is a bit of a pain in the butt. You have to keep on top of it. But these are a good way because these are physical items, so you can look at them. Ideally, you want to look at them in daylight or under a, get a daylight bulb. Because if I'm looking at them here, for example, in the dark, I'm not going to get a good idea of what the color's like. But these are really, really invaluable. They do say that you should upgrade these. You should buy new ones every year. I bought these last year. These are the latest versions of these at the moment. But the books that I've been using up till that point were from 2013 or 12. So my books were 8 years old. As long as you keep them in the dark, then the colors should be okay. The reason that I got these ones is that they introduce new colors every year. And so I was actually missing something like 400 colors. So I was limiting myself in what I could use in the software. So by buying these, I'm now completely up to date. So that's another tool, a bit like the Logo Package Express. I couldn't be without those books. I use those books every time I work on a logo, because that's how I specify the logo colors. But okay, so my software disconnected for a second there, but I think we're back now. So yeah, so watch this video and you'll get more information about the Pantone Bridge books. Really, really useful thing to have. So apologies about that disconnection there. So what's next? Next is What the Font. Many of you may have heard of What the Font. It basically helps you to find fonts. Let's say you've got a client, and it usually is a client, and they say, I like this font here, can you use this in my design? Or maybe you've seen another design and you really like the font and you want to use it for a design, but you don't know what the font's called. Then What the Font is really good. You can just basically take a screen grab of the design, drop the font in, and What the Font will analyze it and give you suggestions. Now, sometimes it'll get it right straight away, but I find it can be a bit hit and miss sometimes. But what it will do is it will show you fonts which are very, very close. And sometimes the one which it finds is actually a commercial font and it's quite expensive. So it's quite good that it'll actually show you other fonts, and some of them will be Google fonts, which look really, really close, but they're free to use. So it can kind of save you some money. But one of the things as well is that if you do, put it in and What the Font doesn't find it, there are other font finders. So I would just suggest go into Google and type font identify or something like that, and it will bring up lots of other ones. So there's that one, and then there's one called What Font Is. They're all similar, but they all have slightly different engines which look at the type and different ways of doing it. So you sometimes get different results based on that. But again, I find this a really, these types of sites really, really useful. I use What the Font most of the time because I actually have the What the Font app on my iPhone. So sometimes if I'm out and about and I see like a sign or, a shop sign or a poster, I can take a photo of it. I can then crop into the text and run it through What the Font and find out what, hopefully find out what font it is that I use and take a note of it so that I can use that in something that I want to design later on. Yeah, so that's really, really good for identifying any fonts that you're missing. Fuad's saying for Arabic fonts identification, try FontBug. That's a really good tip. Considering I've just finished a project that was, for Arabic, I would have struggled if my client had said, "Can you identify this?" So that's a really good tip. I'm going to add that to my list of bookmarks. Let's just see if that actually comes up. Oh yeah, cool, awesome. So one of the things which that I struggled with a little bit when I was working with the client was finding fonts I'm so used to designing logos and things in English that I had to make sure that the font and stuff I chose, I'd be able to type things out in Arabic using it. Otherwise, I would have had to try to create that manually, which I wasn't really keen on doing. But yeah, that's a really, really good find. I appreciate that. I shall bookmark that. So I don't know if I'll just bookmark that to my bookmarks bar just now. Awesome. So that's really, really good. Thank you for that. This is why I ask people to come on the stream, because there are things and places that I don't know which will be really useful for me, as much as hopefully some of this stuff's useful for you. And ARB font for free fonts. Okay. You're a fountain of cool font stuff for me. Awesome. Oh wow, I wish I'd known I wish I'd known that this was there. Obviously I can translate that over into English so I can actually read what some of the stuff says. So I'm going to bookmark that as well. Great, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. So let's see. I don't want this stream to go on as long as the 2 hours last time, so I want to kind of get through this for you guys. Like I say, I've got videos on some of the stuff that I talk about anyway, but I just wanted to bring it all into one space right now. What else have we got? Paper. So paper is something that I love. More and more stuff these days is just digital. It's websites, Instagram, whatever. So people are doing a lot of marketing digitally. They don't do as much in print. Obviously print isn't dead, although many people will say print is dead. I don't believe it is. What I kind of see now is that people are being more creative with print, and one way to be more creative with print is to choose good paper. There's basic papers like gloss or silk finishes on paper, which is fine, and it's usually white and it gets the color printed on it. But I have there's a paper manufacturer. I'll need to go back to my chat window here. There's a paper manufacturer here in the UK called GF Smith, and they make amazing papers, and they also do amazing paper sample books. Look at the thickness of this. It's like the size of my head, and this is just full of really, really awesome papers. Now I don't know if you can actually sort of see like this paper here. Listen to this. Listen, it's so thick. So it goes from really, really, really thin or normal thickness of papers all the way through to very, very heavyweight boards. It's hard. It's going to be hard to kind of show this to you. Maybe go try it this way. But there are all sorts of different colored papers. So it's not about having, all the time having a white paper that you then print color onto. Sometimes it's really nice to have an actual colored paper. And, so you've got sort of normal rainbow colors, but as you go through, they've got sections where, I don't know if the camera, you can't really pick this up on the camera, but this is neon, bright yellow, and it actually has a sparkle in it. These papers have sparkles in them, even the black. But yeah, this is, it's really difficult. I wish I could show you all this in person. But there are some amazing textures on these. And you get silver, you get gold. I use this for inspiration a lot. Now, the thing is, not all of my clients are going to pay for, paper like this. But sometimes there are occasions where it really pays to stand out. And one of those places is business cards. And that's another place that people say, business cards are dead. Who needs a business card these days? Now, I get that from the point of view of you don't want to just have a business card, which is just like, here's my telephone number and my email address. You want to use a business card. I personally think that a business card should be used to catch someone's attention and make an impression. So you want to give them something that they've maybe not had before, and that might be that it's really thick, or it might be a very unusual material, or you might, it might be embossed, or you might, have be a shape, something that's just really going to make you stick in their mind, but also going to make them want to keep your business card. I don't know if I've got one left in my wallet or not, but I think again I've got a video. Oh no, I do have one here. So this is a business card of mine. You can see that it's made of metal. I got these done like a few years ago now, but it's been laser cut, so my logo's cut out of it. But it also has like my Rock Your brand thing. It actually pushes. Going out of focus, but the Rock Your brand hand actually pushes out from the card, and you can use it as a bookmark. So you just lift that up and slide over the page, and then this sticks out of the book, so you can see my logo and my contact details out the side of the book. And this got a lot of attention, and people still show other people this today. Sorry, I've moved on from. Let me bring back up the website. Fuad's asking how you can get hold of the paper book. So on the GF Smith site, you can actually go to their book collection, and you can order the book. I think if you're a student, you might get a better deal. But you can also order like paper samples as well. So it looks like if you're a student, you get 25% discount off of everything if you use a student discount code, student25. I'm quite fortunate in that I got this sent to me. I know one of the representatives from GF Smith, and he sent this to me. But I do shout about their papers all the time, so probably get them some business. But that's once we, I don't know what it's like all over the world, but obviously we're not doing meetings in person just now. But when I have client meetings in person and I bring this out and we look through this, people are just like, oh, that looks so cool. I'd love to do that. Let's do something with that. It is more expensive, because that type of paper is just going to be more expensive. But like I say, if you can, do a business card or something on a material that's not used that often, you will make an impression. And it does work. I actually this actually my card got into one of the creative magazines as one of the best or most creative business cards. I think it was 2018 or 17, can't remember. I'm down to like my last few of these cards. My logo's changed in that time a little bit, so I probably need to get some more done. They're not cheap. Like if I was getting normal business cards done, like normal card ones, so I've got normal card business cards as well. So got my ugly it's got my ugly mug on the front, and then I've got my little Lego guy in the back. These are just card. I can get 500 of these for like £12, which is what, $15. So that was for 500. So it's £12 for 500. I got 100 of these done, and it cost me £360. So, but I didn't just give these out to anyone. I gave them out to people that I knew would, were maybe in an industry or knew people that I was trying to get in front of to see if they needed design work. So you've kind of got to be clever about it. If you're going to spend the money, you don't want to just be giving them to anyone. You want to be giving them to people that could potentially, sit down. They maybe they go to meet people and they go, hey, if I showed you this really cool business card that I've got, check this out. This is really cool. So you want to do something like that. So it was expensive, and that was a few years ago, and I didn't have a huge amount of money, but I was looking for ways to stand out from other designers, and this was one of the things that, you know, that worked. I got a couple of really good design jobs off the back of this, which more than covered the cost of the cards. So, you know, it did its job. Let's see, there's a few things there. Thanks for liking the business card. I would love to be able to give you one of these throughout, but like I say, I'm down to my last couple, and I'd like to actually have one for myself. So, and because I'm always losing stuff, it's probably best that I keep these. Now, if I get some new ones done, then maybe I'll send one to you. So I'll let you know as soon as I get some new ones done. If I do get them done, I'll definitely do a video on it anyway, because they'll probably be, you know, pretty cool to look at. So if I get new ones done, I will keep you in mind, and I'll pop one in the post to you. So don't let me forget that. Siobhan's just saying, nice to give them to potential deals only. You just, you know, it's just thinking kind of cleverly about it. You know, you don't want to be giving it to a client that you know you only get, you know, jobs from they're not the best jobs. You want to be using this type of stuff to try to win higher value clients, because if you're going to spend, you know, money on it, you need to make that money back. So it's just trying to be clever about it. It could even be, you know, if you're not going networking, it could be that you send it as part of a letter, you know. So I could have written an introduction letter, put the letter in and held the letter closed using this. What you don't want to do is then put it into just a normal white envelope. You'd probably want to buy an envelope which was like a really nice paper or something that they're going to want to open, that they're intrigued with, and just make it an experience. Like, you know, people do unboxing videos. You want them to feel like that, you know, something special that they're getting from you, rather than just another designer trying to get work from them. You need to stand out. So sometimes it's not about spending a lot of money. It's just about being clever with what you send. Tell you a quick story about Stuart. So Stuart is a designer that works with me. He helps me on projects. And Stuart, I didn't know Stuart, and I received a letter one day, and it had some bits of paper in it, and they were kind of cut up and things, and an introduction letter. And what Stuart did was really clever. He kind of sent me his CV and his business card and everything, but it was a jigsaw, and I had to kind of put it together in order to see it. And it was really clever. I didn't have any work for him at the time to do, but what I said to him was, what to do is get in touch with me again in maybe, you know, I can't remember how long it was, 3 months, 6 months time, and if I've got anything, you know, well, we can have a chat. And 6 months later, I received a letter, like an envelope, really nice envelope, and inside it was a brochure. And on the front of the brochure, it just said, "You may not remember me." And I was like, "What is this? You may not remember me." And I opened it up, and it was from Stuart, and it was like a portfolio brochure, and it was landscape, you know, so it was a bit different. And it was work that he'd done over the past 6 months, showing, you know, basically showing me the type of stuff he could do. And again, it was just that thing on the front, "You may not remember me." So he was kind of acknowledging that I was probably busy, and, you know, I do get a lot of CVs, and I do get a lot of people asking, you know, if I've got any overflow work or if they can work with me. But most of them are just emails which are, you know, do you have any work going? There's, you know, no real spark to them. Stuart stood out by a mile. First by sending the really creative jigsaw CV, and then secondly by sending me something which was well thought out, and not just, you know, "Hey, you said to get back in touch in 6 months' time. Do you have any work yet?" He thought about my day and how busy I'd be, and I may not remember him, and just worked that into the story of sending me that stuff. And I didn't have any work for Stuart at that time, but what I did do was say, right, I can't, this guy, I need to work with this guy. He's so clever in the way he thinks. And so Stuart started doing some work for me, and that was, that's a few years ago now. And Stuart still works with me, doing, subcontracting work for me and helping me out on projects. And we've just finished a project recently for some brochures for a good client of mine, and he did an excellent job on it. So, if you're looking to, whether you're looking to get a job, as an employee, or if you're just looking to freelance for an agency, think about how you're contacting them, because it will make all the difference. Because just think about how many applications they get day in, day out think how many designers there are looking for work. You need to stand out. So think how you can be different. And Stuart did that. And he, I suppose you could say technically he won, because he got work from me. Even though I didn't have work at the time, I specifically looked for ways to give him work because I wanted to work with him. There's a big difference there, So I just thought I would share that story based on being different. Fuad saying I need a metallic envelope. I used to send out metallic envelopes, red metallic envelopes, that got people's attention. Again, they were expensive, but that was it. So Shivan's saying, when we're on the topic of portfolios, can you check out mine at the end of the stream? Maybe I'm a student right now. I'm still thinking of what else to add in it. I won't have time to look at it today because I do want to kind of get wrapped up today. But as mentioned, I don't know if you've been on any of the streams before. It's on Wix. I'll forgive you for it being on Wix. Wix is okay, but the only problem with Wix is that you can't kind of take your pages off, and if you wanted to move them to WordPress or something, you'd have to rebuild everything from scratch. If I was going to use a site like that, I would probably use Squarespace more than Wix, because at least with Squarespace, if you want to move to WordPress later for more functionality, Squarespace lets you export your pages and then you can import them into WordPress. But anyway, that's a different thing. So what I was going to suggest though is there has been a request for me to do logo critiques on the channel. But, maybe I could kind of help out and sort of look at portfolios as well, from the perspective of if I was looking to hire someone, could give some feedback. I've seen a few other designers on YouTube doing that type of thing, portfolio reviews and stuff. I've kind of stayed away from it because sometimes you have to give people, you've got to be honest sometimes, and sometimes feel bad. But as somebody mentioned on the stream the last time, in order to improve, you sometimes have to be given, what seems like bad news, but as long as it's given in a constructive way. Okay, here's what I think. That's maybe not so good. Here's what would improve that. So, as long as I feel I can give, direction and stuff, then, I'm happy to do that. So if you were up for that, if you could wait maybe a couple of weeks, then I'd be up for doing that. What to do is on my YouTube channel in the community tab, if you just leave a comment underneath the stream for today, just to remind me, then what we'll do is we'll get that will remind me to do that. I'm still trying to figure out a way to take requests for logo critiques and portfolio critiques, the best way to kind of bring that in, because what I don't want is I don't want my main email account bombarded with that kind of stuff. I need to set something up that's separate so I can keep that to its side. So once I get that set up, I will make an announcement in the community tab that I'm taking submissions for that. So hopefully that'll be something useful to you, and we could do that. I'd love to do it. I'd love to help you out. So let's do that on the channel in future. So let's see. I think actually maybe the GF Smith thing was the last thing anyway. So those I think were the main tools that I wanted to talk about today. I really wanted to just kind of have a chat with you guys as well. I do like speaking to you. I know that some of the streams will be inviting to people, because they're, you know, maybe looking for the logo design process. What do you do? How do you do it? And maybe something like this where it's tools and resources isn't of interest to that many people. But I don't mind, as long as I'm helping out one or two people. I feel I'm doing a good job. So thanks to you guys, especially, you know, everyone that stays for most of the stream. It's really appreciative. And then I do upload the replay, so it is there. Again, links are in the description to the sites that I've talked about today. I do need to put in the link to the Logo Package Express review. See, when you pause videos and you get faces like that when you pause videos. It's one of the worst things about video. But I'll put this tutorial video on in the description, so you can have a look at that. Like I say, you can get $20 off, which is, you know, better than nothing, I suppose. But it brings it down to $100 from $120. And then, you know, if Michael updates it, you know, version 2.2, 2.3, you will get those updates. I think when he moves to, because when he moved from version 1 to version 2, that was a new, kind of technically a new piece of software, so there was a fee to get version 2. And then I think when he gets to version 3, that will probably be a fee involved to upgrade to that, because it will be a big upgrade, not just like little tweaks. But again, totally worth it, absolutely worth it. Yeah, in terms of taking the requests, I will think of something. I think I would rather automate it, so I'll probably set up a page on my website, which will be a form where people can either, you know, put the link into their portfolio, or there will be an upload button where they can upload their logo file, so that I, you know, can get the documents. I'd like to kind of automate it that way, so there isn't a lot of back and forth between us. But I'll figure something out. It's just getting the time. So I'm going to wrap it up today. That's coming up for 90 minutes. Next Thursday, there may or may not be a stream, because it's my birthday next week. So I may take a break, or what I might do is, if I'm feeling up to it, I might just go live on the channel and just completely open it up to questions. It won't be a topic. It'll just be, if you've got any questions, then I'll be up for that. So what I'll do is I'll post into the community tab this weekend and see how much interest there is about just having an open forum Q&A where you guys can ask me anything about, you know, branding, strategy, you know, things like that. Or depending on how well my birthday's going, we might take a break for 1 week and then come back the following week. But I'll let you know. I won't just, you know, have people turn up at 8 o'clock thinking that I might go live when I won't go live. So, well, that's what I'm thinking. Might put a little birthday hat on, you know, little, you know, streamers, party poppers, celebrate my birthday. I might do that. You know, I might just do a little birthday stream. Might be fun to just kind of hang out. Might even just do it as a hangout stream, because that's kind of what I was wanting to do. I did on my very first live stream, I talked about starting a Twitch channel, and I created the Twitch channel and I didn't really do much with it. And now there's a new kind of competitor to Twitch called Glimesh, and I've created a Glimesh channel where I was, you know, wanting to go on and just play games and just kind of hang out and chat. So might do that. Might do that next week. I might just post the link into my Glimesh channel. I can actually show you before we go. I'll show you my Glimesh channel, which is this here. It does say mature content warning. That's just in case I'm playing a game and I swear, because I do get a bit passionate when I'm playing a game. So it's very much like Twitch. If you've ever been on Twitch and watched anyone on Twitch. But this is my Glimesh channel. In terms of games that I play, I used to play Counter-Strike Source competitively. and Modern Warfare, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. It was Modern Warfare 4 competitively, so it's like over 10 years ago. I don't anymore. I just kind of play games for fun now. But mostly sort of first-person shooter games, and I play like role-playing games like Divinity 2, those types of games. Witcher 3 is one of my favourite games from the past. I tend to just play games where I can just kind of play on my, play myself, not worry about other people shooting me and things, just the monsters in the game. So yeah, maybe we can do that next week. Maybe we can have a Thursday night birthday stream over on Glimesh, and kind of hang out there. So if you want to, I'll put it into the chat. If you want to kind of go over, you can kind of follow my channel, and we can hang out there next week rather than making it a YouTube live stream. And then from then on, it might be that I'll do future streams on Glimesh for fun, where we can just kind of look at stuff, design stuff, and chat about games, chat about music, and also as well, I've never played Rocket League, but I'd totally be up for organizing, finding games where we could all log in at the same time in a private server and play games together. That'd be fun. I'd enjoy that. So get away from work, get away from talking about design all the time, and just hang out and have fun. So let's do that. So thank you all for joining today. I hope you found some of this information useful. If you didn't know about any of the any of these apps, some of them you will have known, but stuff like Design Cuts, Logo Package Express, the Pantone books, Placeit, Envato, Paper, and I'd like to say thank you to Fuad for telling me about these Arabic sites for fonts. They'll be useful for upcoming stuff. But yeah, thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. Look out for my post in the community channel, and let's hang out on Glimesh. I don't know if I actually showed you. I don't even know if I was on the web thing when I showed you my Glimesh channel or not, but hopefully you were. But see you there. Remember, as always, stay creative, folks, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.